into some hightail drama in the hip hop world involving two of the more popular artists in those areas. We got Cardi B and Offset. The two used to be married. The two are now separated and are in the midst of a divorce, and the divorce appears to be getting messier and messier by the day. But the reason why we are broaching this topic on Conscious Approach is because of an interesting wrinkle in these proceedings. Offset has decided to amend his divorce terms to include spousal support. He is insisting that Cardi B pay him spousal support. And everything else is staying the same. Joint custody of the kids, and there's trying to divide up the assets and whatnot. But Offset is saying that Cardi B needs to pay him spousal support in lieu of the divorce. So this says Offset reportedly requests spousal support from Cardi B amid nasty divorce. Cardi B may be moving on to her new flame, Stephon Diggs. More on him in a bit. But she still has to wrap up her contentious divorce from Offset. Per TMZ, the former Migo just filed some new paperwork in court that might change the course of their process. Earlier this month, the Georgia rapper reportedly requested an unspecified amount in spousal support from the Bronx FMC. This is according to amended court documents reportedly obtained by the outlet. However, it seems like past moves in this divorce are still on the table, so this wasn't a massive change from what they have already advocated for individually. For example, Offset still wants joint custody with Cardi B concerning their 3 children. Also, he requested that her residence serve as the little one's main residence. But all this happened a while ago. In fact, there haven't been a lot of updates in the actual courtroom proceedings since Cardi filed back in August of 2024. When it comes to their social media presence, though, they spewed a lot of venom at each other in recent months. We will see whether or not this amended divorce response from Set actually results in some financial consequences for the leader of the Barty gang. For now, money hasn't been the issue here, as they both reportedly plan to cover their own legal fees. So perhaps this represents a fork in the road or just a new approach after some reflection. So I thought that this was somewhat interesting. You don't really see men involved in divorce proceedings requesting spousal support, much less a guy who is a proud YRN. For Offset, you got to put the R part in between the Y and the N because the R stands for rich. So he's a young rich N word. You got to make sure that you put the rich part in there. Offset isn't just a regular YN; he's a YRN because he's a rich YN.
Got it.
But I'm interested to hear what you have to say about the fact that this guy's decided to go this route and seek spousal support from from his ex. Well, they aren't officially exes yet, but soon to be ex-wife.
I think it's a good power move by my boy Offset here. I think most men that are in this situation should also do the same. Just flip the script a little bit. Now, like you mentioned, bro, Offset's he's a YRN, right? So he often brags about how much money he has, what he can buy, what jets he's flying on, and all that good stuff in between. So to sit around and file paperwork that asks a woman to pay him, it looks a little different. That doesn't necessarily fit the braggadocious narrative. However, Offset has always come off as a very petty individual to me. If you guys watched that interview that he did with that industry plant girl, what's that girl name?
Bobby Alfoff.
Yeah, there you go. Where I saw his personality, honestly, for the first time. And he was just scolding the young lady, rightfully so, I might add. But in that interview, I realized how petty he can actually be. And dealing with Cardi B of all people, somebody who would rug men uh, and have transgenders in the room with those men. Okay, what kind of person is this? Well, that's a petty ass person. So they were meant for each other, clearly. So I'm pretty sure their arguments got real intense. Um, yes, this divorce has been very, and they've been in the headlines for at least the last couple years. Now we don't really talk about them. Okay, we don't talk about them at all. But this is an interesting wrinkle. And the reason why they're always in the news is because they're always going back and forth with the tit for tat. So I don't know who got in his ear. I don't know if this has always been a part of his plan, but I think it's wise on his behalf. Now, will he actually get it because of irreconcilable differences or X, Y, or the Z, or I don't know how they're going to figure out why that she needs to pay him, because I'm pretty sure the narrative is that he cheated first. So who knows how that's going to work?
Yeah.
But I had to look it up, man, because I was like, hey, man, what's going on? So, and this is loosely Google searching, but it says that Offset's net worth is 32 million and Cardi B's is 101.
I'm seeing the same thing. Yeah.
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 So get that bag, Offset. Okay. Hey man, get one back for the fellas. All right, get that alimony, man, and we can champion this one, man. Hell, 1 out of 1,000 ain't bad, bruh. You're like the only brother out there actually doing this. And honestly, some other rappers probably would have been a little too proud, but not my boy Offset. So honestly, I'm saying get to the bag, boss. Why not? And some of the stuff that I've seen Cardi B say online about Offset, I'd do the same damn thing if I was him. But what are your thoughts, man, about Offset running around here, actually filing paperwork, trying to get the bag out of Cardi B? What are your thoughts, bro?
First off, let me preface by saying I think everything you said is correct. My point here is not to refute anything that you had to say or to counter it, because I don't think you're wrong. But part of me with this situation is a bit conflicted,
Mm.
because constructively I understand it. You already read the numbers. I found the same thing, so you're not making that up. She has a greater net worth. So if any one of these individuals could perhaps um, be victorious in being awarded spousal support, it would be him and not her. So I get that much. But and so on paper, I understand why this is okay. I also feel like it's somewhat a bit of justice, because strike one for the men for once, because it's
Yeah,
always the men being extracted. And so
yeah.
maybe we can have a situation where a woman is being extracted. So I get that part too. I'm not hating on that. I'm not hating on that, right? I'm not hating on it. But what I will say is part of me doesn't like it. Part of me doesn't like it because I feel as though these, and you know how the internet works. I feel like this type of behavior on his part contributes to the overall narrative about the lack of quality men, um, you know, in the world, so to speak. Not to get too galaxy brain. I don't think that he's doing the wrong thing necessarily by trying to make the point of seeking the spousal support, but I really think, despite whatever conditions and circumstances may have led to the breakdown of their relationship, I really do feel like it would have worked even more in his favor from a PR and Q rating standpoint if he had not done this. Because then he'd be the man who is seeking joint custody of kids, right? So not only does he not want her to receive primary custody, which is usually how this stuff works, usually we see the woman seeking primary custody, which means she gets the child support and she gets all of that good stuff. So not only does he want to be involved via joint custody, not only is he just trying to split all of the assets amicably down the middle, but he's also willing to depart from this situation with his head held high, not seeking any punitive financial damages, not trying to get any spousal support. And so, yeah, even though you're walking away with a less big bag as a result of this, you're still looking good in the manosphere, because now women can't accuse you for being an extractor, and men can look at you as somewhat of an example for being someone who is uh and it's hard for me to say this because I hardly find Offset to be an example of the leader of a household, but a proverbial leader of a household, if you will.
Okay.
Because so not him specifically, but what it represents. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So from that standpoint, being the true alpha in the situation, the true leader, the man who says, I'm going to set my emotions and my vitriol aside, handle this as amicably as possible, let you go about your business, and all I want to do is be a part of the kids' lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like by going the route of seeking spousal support, he relinquishes his ability to be viewed in that light, because now he's just in the mud playing the petty game with her. And now everybody else who has an opinion on the matter can talk about how he's seeking spousal support despite the fact that he's a YRN. You know what I'm saying? So it's a situation where I don't think either side of the aisle on this is right or wrong. I just think that by seeking spousal support, he forfeited the opportunity to paint himself in a more optimistic light. And it's a missed opportunity, but it's certainly not the end of the world. That's just kind of how I look at this one. I kind of agree with you as well. You bring up a good point. I think they both were made for each other.
Absolutely.
And so I think the explosiveness that this situation has been viewed upon makes a lot of sense given their respective behaviors. And so although I'm a bit disappointed at the missed opportunity because he's decided to try and extract her, I also feel like it's on brand with him, you know. And what else was I gonna say? Um, you know, I feel like yeah, it's just consistent, and this is consistent and it's on brand, and it's not much of a cold switch. So I kind of just think it was a missed opportunity, but still not the end of the world. And I'm not at all surprised that he decided to do this because based on previous behavior, this is kind of where he's at mentally. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and I'll say this. Now this can get flipped. This can get flipped in the sense where Offset is keeping it. He's keeping it P. Okay. Now, if we're following the rules of the P's, okay, they extract the money out of these slurs, and if this woman wants to sell her body literally and figuratively out here in this world, he's gonna get off of that. And see, he's not tricking, because she's the one that's giving him the bag. So in the I guess in the sphere where men are red pilled out, all right, where they're dunking on women constantly, and they actually take you know lessons and advice from P's. This is even though he has children with her, I mean, he's still in the lane where he's getting the bag up out of her, and that's play as far as I'm concerned. When you're dealing with this degenerate world, all right, and this underworld of how they do things, it's not so much a bad look when it comes to him, because he can flip this that way when it comes to his rap career and all this other stuff.
Oh yeah.
Now, the 10 toes down square business aspect of this, uh, I still think that he's in the right, because um, that's what this economy is based off of. That's how it works. That's how marriage works. Whoever, uh, he or she or whoever has the bag has to come off the bag once marriage is over. Um, you can guarantee if he had that one on one and she had that 32, she was going to take that money.
Oh yeah.
So it's just one of those things, man. If it was an amicable situation where they were both like, "Hey, man, we're done with this," or whatever, whoop de whoop, divorce, and it's over. Um, that could have been one thing, but I really think the fact that there's been so much scratching and clawing, so much public humiliation going on both sides of the aisle, this is a awful, messy situation. So why not take it to that next level of going, well, I'm gonna get your money now. How you like that? So all in all, the big lesson of this, I would say, is if you knew she would do it to you, I'm not saying whatever, man, but hey, man, in this world, bro, whatever makes you feel good. If so Offset, I don't, or anybody that's in his boat that feels like, hey, man, there's been enough humiliation here, or she done pissed me off so much, or she done XYZ or whatever, and you're in that same position as him to get alimony and get paid and all that other stuff, and that's how you feel you want to do, then go ahead and do that. But then on the flip side of that, if you feel like, hey, man, I'm about my business, I don't need a woman's money, which is misogynistic. Okay. I don't need a woman's money. I'm better than it. I'm bigger than, I'm the man. It's like, hey, man, it's whatever. You're entitled to that too. Me personally, um, if I feel as though she would have did that to me, then I'm doing it to her.
Well, even if I feel like they're, well, according to that logic, then you definitely got to do it, because I feel like even if they don't want to do it, they're probably going to be advised to do it. You
Nah, then
know,
I got advice.
yeah, then you exactly. So like from that standpoint, he basically is doing what he has to do, because she definitely, now I think she's the type of person who, even if she isn't being advised to take it there, she still will.
Mhm.
But I think there's a lot of, like, I would imagine when a lot of these situations going like this, you know, I think both, I would I would find it hard to believe that there aren't situations in which, going into a process like this, both individuals predetermine that they want to be as amicable as possible. No hard feelings. Yeah, stuff went left, but we'll let bygones be bygones and just walk away. But somewhere along the way, one of them gets advised to seek something, and
Mhm.
then it turns into a different direction
Mhm.
because of that counsel.
Mhm.
So, like, 9 times out of 10, it's going to go that route, either because they want it to, or because the counsel is advising them to take it there. So, like I said, I feel like this isn't a right or wrong position, but, from his standpoint, he would have really gained significant moral high ground by
Yeah, yeah.
not seeking, by not going the route of spousal support, because then people can say, yeah, he may have did what he did, but number one, he wants the joint custody, and number two, he just wants to walk away without making it as financially messy as possible. So there's not much you can get on him for in the court of public opinion, outside of whatever irreconcilable differences, stuff that he may have been doing. But I feel like he forfeited that opportunity by getting into the mud with seeking spousal support. But I also don't fault him for it, because you got to do what you got to do.
You
You know what
gotta
I'm
do what you
saying?
gotta do.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not convicted one way or the other, but I do feel as though there was a part of it that was a missed opportunity, because sometimes having the moral high ground is worth something,
It
especially
is.
especially for men, because very rarely in relationship breakdowns do men ever have the opportunity to gain the moral high ground. And very rarely in these situations do women ever have to concede the moral high ground. I mean, oftentimes, even when she is in the wrong, because just by the merit of her being a woman, she's still granted the benefit of the doubt and given the moral high ground by default.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? And I hate that part of it, but such is the way the world is. So this was an opportunity for him to be able to kind of take a little bit of that power back. And he didn't take advantage of it, likely because he was advised not to do so. And I don't fault him for it, but I still recognize it all the same.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, if my old lady was talking about me, the way that Cardi B was talking about Offset on the internet for the last 2 years, yeah, I'm taking her money.
Yeah.
Period. Ain't no conversation about it, man. Moral high ground is me cashing out on your checks.
Yeah, she didn't. She's done herself no favors.
Nah, man, she
Yeah,
been slime about it, and of
yeah.
course it's Offset. So of course he out here dealing with this and dealing with that. Like, who cares? It's Offset. What, you think you gonna be faithful?
Well, that's we've talked about that here before, and that's a whole nother aspect of the conversation.
Oh
But
man.
in her mind, I suppose she did. I don't know.
So you gonna
I don't know.
you
I
gonna
don't
mess
know
with
what's
Stephon Diggs? Is that the answer?
yeah, apparently so. I don't know what these women go through with their decision making. I don't know.
The hell
Don't
is
ask me, bro. We have to. You know what? As a matter of fact, we need to get a woman on this stream.
Yeah.
Anybody out there checking out this video? Anybody in the comments, man? Hit me up on the usual channels. Let me know because we need to get into the pathology because I can speculate all day long as to why. Because I've mentioned before the
Mhm.
two fatal flaws in women. I mean, the fatal flaws inherent in men and women. With women, is decision that women can't get out of their own way. They know that what is best for them, according to what they say they want, is to make one kind of decision, but they always seem to make the opposite of that. They can't get out of their own way. And then when it comes to men, their fatal flaw is just the pursuit of vagina. It's just it's a fatal flaw. It leads to the ruinization of us all. But if we can just get somebody on here to contribute to that conversation to help us dissect the pathology involved in why these decisions get made. Because yes, to answer your question, I 1000% believe she believed that he wasn't about that. Why
Oh
else would
yeah.
and you marry him, of course, you realize he's not because he's not and he never was, and you should have known this.
Flipping off
And
today.
now all of a sudden you're the victim, and it's like, oh my God, he did me so dirty. So I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either, but hey, let us know down in the comment section, guys. Do you feel as though Offset was out of bounds by potentially getting the bag out of Cardi B in their divorce situation, or do you guys feel as though he should have took a different approach and just let that be? Let us know down in the comment section, guys. Love to hear.
Hey, shouts out to Offset, man. Do what you got to do, bro. You know, I'm not. Again, I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying, there were gains to be had in either route, I guess. So I guess I'm just highlighting the other
I'll take the
game.
financial gain.
Yeah, I feel. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I prob I probably would too. If like you said, if she's dragging me publicly the way that she is, I'll probably do the
Come on,
same
man.
thing.
I done seen some nasty videos from that woman.
Well,
So
she's a rather nasty individual.
I would
So.
say that. So give me the cash. Give me the cash.
101 million net worth. You know,
What a world.
yeah.